Global commodities trade and consumption place the world's primates at risk of extinction. A recent study published in the peer-reviewed journal PeerJ, the Journal of Life and Environmental Sciences, highlights the fact that the economic benefits of commodity export for primate habitat countries has been limited relative to the extreme environmental costs of pollution, habitat degradation, loss of biodiversity, continued food insecurity, and the threat of emerging diseases. The world's primate fauna, distributed in the Neotropics, Africa and in South and Southeast Asia, represents an important global component of the Earth's land-based biodiversity. The presence and activities of primates support a range of tropical community-wide ecological functions and services that provide vital resources to natural ecosystems, including local human populations. Alarmingly, around 60% of primate species are now threatened with extinction, and approximately 75% have declining populations as a result of escalating anthropogenic pressures resulting in deforestation, habitat degradation, and increased spatial conflict between an expanding human population and the natural range of primates. The study finds that growing market demands for food and non-food commodities from high-income nations and the global community at large are significant drivers of rapid and widespread primate habitat loss and degradation. The global consumption of food and natural resources, along with an increasingly globalized economy, has created an expanding international market for agricultural products. Such growth is also reflected in the growth of the area of deforestation that is commodity-driven. Available evidence indicates that between 2001 to 2015, 160 million hectares of forest were lost in the tropics due to human activities, and that 50% or more of this loss was commodity-driven. That is, forests were converted to agricultural fields, cattle pastures, mines to extract minerals and metals, fossil fuel exploration, and urbanization. Given that global commodity resource extraction is predicted to more than double, from 85 BN tons today to 186 BN by the year 2050, reversing the current trend of primate population decline and extinction due to habitat loss and degradation will require a stronger global resolve to reduce the world's per capita demand for forest-risk food and non-food commodities from primate range regions, while at the same time implementing sustainable land use practices that improve the standard of living for local human communities, protect local biodiversity, and mitigate climate change. In order to avoid the impending extinction of the world's primates, the researchers suggest a number of measures to be implemented, including changing global consumer habits, e.g., using less oilseed, eating less meat, the creation of an international environmental improvement fund to mitigate the negative effects of forest-risk commodities trade, and assigning responsibility for environmental damage to those international corporations that control production, export, and supply chains. Authors Alejandro Estrada, Paul A. Garber and Abhishek Chaudhry write, growing global consumer demands for food and non-food commodities from primate range regions are placing primate populations at risk of extinction. These increasing demands have resulted in an accelerated global expansion of agriculture and of extractive industries, and in the growth of infrastructure to support these activities, leading to widespread primate habitat loss and degradation. Primates and their habitats are a vital component of the world's natural heritage and culture, and as our closest living biological relatives, non-human primates deserve our full attention, concern, and support for their conservation and survivorship, the authors argue. Ancient DNA from Roman and medieval grape seeds reveal ancestry of wine making. A grape variety still used in wine production in France today can be traced back 900 years to just one ancestral plant, scientists have discovered. With the help of an extensive genetic database of modern grapevines, researchers were able to test and compare 28 archaeological seeds from French sites dating back to the Iron Age, Roman era, and medieval period. Utilizing similar ancient DNA methods used in tracing human ancestors, a team of researchers from the UK, Denmark, France, Spain, and Germany drew genetic connections between seeds from different archaeological sites, as well as links to modern-day grape varieties. It has long been suspected that some grape varieties grown today, particularly well-known types like Pinot Noir, have an exact genetic match with plants grown 2,000 years ago or more, but until now there has been no way of genetically testing an uninterrupted genetic lineage of that age. Dr. Nathan Wales, from the University of York, said, "From our sample of grape seeds we found 18 distinct genetic signatures, including one set of genetically identical seeds from 2 Roman sites separated by more than 600 kilometers, and dating back 2,000 years ago." These genetic links, which included a sister relationship with varieties grown in the alpine regions today, demonstrate winemakers' proficiencies across history in managing their vineyards with modern techniques, such as asexual reproduction through taking plant cuttings. One archaeological grape seed excavated from a medieval site in Orléans in central France was genetically identical to Savagnin Blanc. This means the variety has grown for at least 900 years as cuttings from just one ancestral plant. This variety, not to be confused with Sauvignon Blanc, is thought to have been popular for a number of centuries, but is not as commonly consumed as a wine today outside of its local region. The grape can still be found growing in the Jura region of France, where it is used to produce expensive bottles of vin jaune, as well as in parts of Central Europe, where it often goes by the name Traminer. Although this grape is not so well known today, 900 years of a genetically identical plant suggests that this wine was special enough for grape growers to stick with it across centuries of changing political regimes and agricultural advancements. Dr. Jasmine Ramos Madrigal, a postdoctoral researcher from the University of Copenhagen, said, "We suspect the majority of these archaeological seeds come from domesticated berries that were potentially used for winemaking based on their strong genetic links to wine grapevines." Berries from varieties used for wine are small, thick-skinned, full of seeds, and packed with sugar and other compounds such as acids, phenols, and aromas, great for making wine but not quite as good for eating straight from the vine. These ancient seeds did not have a strong genetic link to modern table grapes. Based on writings by the Roman author and naturalist, Pliny the Elder, and others, we know the Romans had advanced knowledge of winemaking and designated specific names to different grape varieties, but it has so far been impossible to link their Latin names to modern varieties. Now we have the opportunity to use genetics to know exactly what the Romans were growing in their vineyards. Of the Roman seeds, the researchers could not find an identical genetic match with modern-day seeds, but they did find a very close relationships with 2 important grape families used to produce high-quality wine. These include the Syrah Mondes Blanche family. Syrah is one of the most planted grapes in the world today, and the Mondes Blanche, which produces a high-quality AOC, protected regional product, wine in Savoy, as well as the Pinot Savagnin family, Pinot Noir being the king of wine grapes. Dr. Wales said, "It is rather unconventional to trace an uninterrupted genetic lineage for hundreds of years into the past. Instead of exploring broad patterns in genetic ancestry, as in most ancient DNA projects, we had to think like forensics scientists and find a perfect match in the database." Large databases of genetic data from modern crops and optimized paleogenomic methods have vastly improved our ability to analyze the history of this and other important fruits. For the wine industry today, these results could shed new light on the value of some grape varieties. Even if we don't see them in popular use in wines today, they were once highly valued by past wine lovers and so are perhaps worth a closer look. The researchers now hope to find more archaeological evidence that could send them further back in time and reveal more grape wine varieties. The research is funded by the Danish Council for Independent Research, the Danish National Research Foundation, and the French National Agency of Research, and published in Nature Plants.